What was your question?
Who's the other guy?
I don't know yet, but it doesn't matter. Because me and you bring one of your friends, the three of us, who couldn't we beat?
Where?
It's in the ladies'
And
ward.
when?
There's a nobleman. He has a manor house. His name is Zemdir. I just got the invite last night. Been looking for you all morning.
That name doesn't sound familiar, does it?
It does not. He said, the invite came to me personally. And I immediately thought of you. You've got my back on this, right? You're in?
Well, it depends on when is this? When is this happening? When is this going down?
He says, tell me you're in, I'll make all the arrangements.
I would assume that you would know when this thing is going down before. Like, I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, I'm.
Great. That's all I needed to hear. And he slaps you on the back with his giant hand. So
when and where?
Because I'll take care of all of that. Don't you worry. Who's our third?
I'll ask around.
It's one of those plane-walking friends you've been hanging around with?
Most likely.
This is great. Where can I find you this evening?
Mahogany shop, most like.
And he starts sprinting away from you, backwards, while pointing and hollering back just with glee. Great! Best decision you ever made! You won't regret this! And then he's down the road.
Oh, why do I get the feeling that I will?
Kelian, what's your morning action?
He's going to go have breakfast at his former kip.
Okay.
Show Darkwood he's not scared of him.
Let's take a 10-minute break while everybody... When we come back, Kelian's going back to his former kip. Riot's going to the Middle Bob Company. We're having a meeting at Mahogany's shop, and Serenity goes back to the gym. Let me put Elizabeth on screen. I get to have
Serenity
a Pepsi. It's going to be great.
Serenity gonna get them gains.
Be right back.
Yep. Alright, yeah, I gotta disconnect from this ridiculous set of wires. And then...
We will
You'll never be
reconvene
free. You're cyberpunk now.
We'll reconvene at 5 o'clock.
Alright.
Okay. Oh, you know what?
Yeah, why the fuck, Nick? Just why the fuck?
I didn't... Like, my notes were bad. In this one instance where it really mattered, my notes were bad.
At the same time,
I
though,
was there. I just assumed he knew something I didn't.
I kind of feel like that's in character for both Riot and Mahogany.
Yeah,
that's true.
Just so we're clear, Matt the player is totally cool with everything that happened. Once Kelian finds out, he's going to lose his fucking mind.
Yeah,
just so we're clear.
Ciclon is going to be very much on the same page with that.
In fact,
because yeah, once his morning action rolls around, Ciclon pops into Mahogany's shop and say, "Hey, what happened at Bahamut's temple yesterday?"
Well,
I found out about how to get through Mount Celestia, so we can leave today if you want.
Yeah. If anyone ever asks Riot, hey, you got the box, right? Just say, don't worry, it's safe.
Serenity.
Yeah.
You get back to the gym for the morning, and nobody wants to spar with you. In fact, people cast kind of sidelong glances and then try to give you a wide berth. Except for the jailer cultists, if you want to hang out with them. No?
No, not really.
Okay.
I'll just rest in the hot tub then.
Okay. Word gets to you, though, that there was a very brief brawl at your tenement last night between the Gruffler and some hardheads. Samim, the one you were talking to yesterday, and an associate of his named Tae Pung, both of them fighters that you know from the sparring in the gym, they were both taken into custody by the Harmonium. For, what was the charge? For obstructing justice. The Gruffler was injured in the battle, But he submitted before anything bad happened. The other two ciphers went on to fight. The hardheads knocked them out, clapped them in irons, took them to the barracks for holding.
Okay, then. As soon as I hear that, I'm headed to the barracks.
Going to the barracks.
Oh, but here we go.
I have a map for the barracks. I should just keep a list of these links handy so I don't have to keep pulling them off of Imgur. Or does Imgur change the links, you think? I don't know how Imgur works, I guess.
You could also
Static.
just save these as tables, right?
I could, but then my save games list gets really unwieldy. So you present yourself at the barracks. What's your intention?
I say I want to talk to that dwarf now.
They ask you to identify yourself when you throw some attitude their way.
Just say my name, Serenity.
You're escorted in, deeper into the barracks that you've gone before. Up to one of these faction areas here. Up to one of these officer quarters. They escort you in and bid you enter the room. It's just a small room. It looks like an unused office. There's a small table with no adornments on it, 3 chairs in the room, and an outward-facing window.
I'll sit down on one of the chairs.
And you enter the room and sit down, and the door closes, and you hear the lock on the other side. After a few minutes, what is Serenity's demeanor at this point?
Cold.
Cold? After a few minutes, the half-dwarf enters the room, Hollis Dwarf, and he looks sad. He looks disappointed. And he's got 4 Harmonium guards with him. He nods to his guards, and they stay outside. He closes the door and sits down in another chair across from you. And he says that this has escalated to a place that I did not want it to go.
So it wasn't your intention to have members of my faction for change for me?
The men that I sent defied my orders. They had orders not to bring violence to anyone in pursuit of you.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope it means that our people will be released.
He asks if you have the package.
It's not mine to give.
Then you need to tell me who has it, where I can find it.
I mean, at this point, I honestly don't know. I could come back to you tomorrow and ask who has it right now.
He says at this point, essentially that ship has sailed. He has it from his superiors and they want the box. And if you're not able to present it and you're not able to give any information, maybe I should rephrase that. Are you unable or are you unwilling?
I could tell you had it last. I don't know where it is now.
I'd really rather not clap you in irons. The
On what charges?
Obstructing justice, standing in between the Harmonium and retrieving that package, which you'll recall was in the possession of an infiltrator. My superiors...
Let me ask you one thing.
Okay.
What's in the package, and was it originally Harmoniums?
He says he doesn't know. You can take my word on that. If I had that information, I would share it with you.
Right, that's fair.
But my hands are being tied.
If I were taken into custody, would I be able to talk to anyone? I can't get you your package if I can't.
He said we can send for someone. Who is it that you...
All right.
Who is it that had the package last? Who is the last person to have it in their possession?
Send for the Cipher Mahogany. I'll talk to him and find out where it is. I know he didn't have the package, but he should know.
So he's the one that has a shop, correct? In the clerk's ward?
Yes.
I'll go myself so as not to risk a similar altercation.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Tell him that I sent you. And Mahogany know it was me. I think he'll just come along. If not, I'll figure something out.
Are you wearing your?
Please don't hurt him.
Are you wearing your glowing maul? You are?
Yeah.
He says that it's his duty to place you under formal arrest for the charging of obstructing justice, which means you're going to have to relinquish your weapons. Because if you want, I'll take that as a sign that I'm coming from your direction. Mahogany will know that, will he not?
He would, but he might be a little apprehensive about the fact that you maybe potentially, stole it from me. Wouldn't take it. Here, take my hand axes. I throw these all the time.
Do you relinquish your weapons peaceably?
Yeah, as long as. But I ask if the half dwarf will keep them personally, as opposed to putting them in whatever weapons later. They're quite valuable to me.
Dwarf says that for the duration of you being in Harmonium custody, that your weapons count as evidence. But he will personally see that they are not misplaced or manhandled. He's going to put them under lock and key himself. He gives every indication that this whole situation is about to be smoothed over.
Yeah, okay.
All right, I peacefully let them take me into whatever cell they want.
Okay.
Or whatever they do with people.
Well, they take you to a holding cell. They don't have a prison on site, obviously. They're not the prison. But they do have some holding cells, and they escort you into one. Pretty standard. It's just straw rushes on the ground to lay on, iron bars to the room, and that's about it.
Mahogany will just, Serenity will just sit down on the floor and meditate.
Is there anything you don't relinquish to them from your inventory, as far as weapons or wealth?
Quick.
Is there anything
Obviously
you attempt to hide?
the boat is in the...
Yeah, the boat's in the hidey hole.
Toy real quick, this other page. My necklace.
Well, describe the necklace to me. First remember.
It's the teardrop pendant that has the Aunt Nancy spider.
So when Dwath goes to retrieve that necklace, what's your reaction?
I'll just kind of hold my hand out and say, "This stays on me. It's just a pin."
He has one of the guards go and run for one of the Harmonium mages, who comes around to ensure that the necklace isn't magical.
Right.
And when he confirms that it's not, Dwath lets you keep it. And now you're locked up.
Awesome.
That was very productive. So now we're going to Riot. You went to the Middle Bob Company. Maybe.
Riot.
Or Riot just vanished. Or Riot's on mute.
Sorry,
Did
I
he
guess
come
I
back?
forgot. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, talk to Dinklink. I must have still been drinking or something.
Yeah, Dinkflig is in town in between excursions. She's happy to see you. Happy that you paid a visit.
So I'll say, well, and how's business?
She says that she's been on 2 excursions since you last met. You guys were in the Beastlands for about a month. And she says, I'll say this. When you've seen the worst place in the multiverse, everywhere else is a vacation.
So, I think I can see what you mean by that. Yeah.
So what can I do for you?
Wanted to. I know it's a little bit of a sensitive subject, us being on opposite teams and all, but thought I might talk to you about the game a bit.
She says, I've forgotten all about that. Haven't given it any thought since the caves.
It just hasn't come up?
And she shakes her head.
I'll say, well, were you ever introduced to your teammates?
She says, I know who they are, or who at least they told me they are.
But did you ever make contact with them?
So of course, they're all middle bobs. They're all members of the family. Some here in Sigil, most back on the Prime.
Huh. So,
make an insight check real quick.
Okay.
Got to beat a 1.
Yeah, I think I can do that on a 1. Yeah, that's no problem.
She tells you she has not thought about it since the caves, and she is lying to you.
Okay. I'll tell her. I'll ask. What I'll say is, well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you where our team is. We've just finished the second round.
And she listens with great interest.
We've been to our cairn. We've retrieved our items.
And she says, well, I don't know anything about any cairn. And again, lying.
Right. And I'll smile at her and say, it's not necessary. I'm here to speak openly.
She says, well, I'm interested to hear whatever you have to say, but I'll be honest, I don't have much interest in this whole Aunt Nancy situation. Mm-hmm. And she's speaking much more openly about it now than she did in the cave. Where in the cave, she was kind of guarded on the subject. She didn't want to approach it very much. But now, she's kind of laughing it off a little bit.
Is she also lying when she says she has no interest in this whole thing?
Yes,
Sure.
She's clearly very interested. She rolled a 1 on deception.
Right.
You're seeing lies she told fucking Santa Claus.
I'll say, and the reason I come to you with this is I'm concerned now. What we got in return, once we passed the second round, we were allowed to ask Aunt Nancy a question. And based on what Aunt Nancy told us, I'm very concerned. I think Aunt Nancy is a terrible threat. Not just to us, not just to the game, not just to the teams, but to everything, everybody, everywhere.
How so? What kind of threat does this spindly, lanky old man pose?
What we were told was that through the course of the game, Aunt Nancy would gain enough power through the contestants, the players, and the end goal was to take control of all stories.
She asks what he meant by that. What do you mean, all stories?
I said, well, seems self-explanatory to me. I don't know if any of my other anyone else on my team caught it, but the stories are reality. Enough people believe a thing that, and then that's how the world becomes. I mean, you live in Sigil, you know that much, right?
She says, I've seen it. Belief has power, etc. You have to remember, though, my family's not from here.
Ah, sure enough.
I personally don't put a lot of stock in that kind of talk.
Well, for bards, that's our stock and trade. Maybe not for merchants. But yeah, I'm very. It made me very nervous. The idea that one person would control everybody in the world's story.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay. All right, that's a 23.
As you're explaining it, she's listening to you, but you see that she's turning over gears in her head as you talk. Mm-hmm. And when you're done, she asks, so are you looking for ways to disrupt the game?
I think it would be good to have something like that as an ace in our pocket.
Let me lock up for a bit. Let's take a walk.
All right.
She comes out from the front of the shop. You walk out into the street. She pulls all the blinds down, closes the door, locks it, begins walking down the road. She's walking through, takes you to a crowded area where there's little chance you'll be overheard. She says, all right, we've stalled out on the second round. Aunt Nancy, in his, I guess as a practical joke, decided to build our team out of well-meaning gnomes that don't get along.
Say, we're had a little bit of that problem ourselves. You wouldn't believe the kind of competition we've had to put up with.
I mean, it's hard enough to get people who live on the folks from the Prime material. It's hard enough to convince them of anything, let alone that there's a game we should all be playing. She says we're about split. Some of us believe that playing the game will lead to great success and wealth for the shop and the business holdings. Some believe it's a waste of time and should not be pursued. But Aunt Nancy insists that we all have to go together to find this cairn. You said you went to the Beastlands?
I didn't say anything of the sort.
You didn't? Okay.
No. All I said was we've passed the second round, we found our cairn.
Okay, then she doesn't mention that then. She asks if you'd be willing to convince the Patriarch. He's old, he's stubborn. Changing his mind is almost impossible. You met Middlebob III in Pandemonium. She's talking about his father, Middlebob II.
I see. I'll give it a shot, but in return from you, I need a little more openness, a little more honesty. You're not very good at it.
Well, Aunt Nancy said something in the caves. He said there's something to be said for cooperation. What do you think the chances are of two other teams working together?
And Riot Last says, listen, on our team we've got an anarchist and a mercy killer working together. I think we can put together a little bit of an inter-team cooperation.
She says, it's going to take some time. Nothing in my family moves quickly, especially on the Prime. But we'll stay in contact, and I'll let you know as soon as we can arrange it.
All right.
You don't have any problem going to the Prime, do you?
I've never been, but I can't imagine it'd be worse than Pandemonium.
Nowhere is.
Amen to that.
Give me 1 second to make a note here. Does Riot ask about the other members of the Middlebob team?
No, not yet.
Okay. Then that's where you can leave it for now with Dinkflink.
Okay.
Back at Mahogany's shop, Mahogany and LC Clone, you're having a meeting.
Yeah, I'll come back and say, hey, how did the Temple of Bahamut go?
And I'll say, well, I got all the information we need. We can leave today.
Okay. Alright, so we'll need to get everyone together and make sure that we have everything straight. Do you know where Portal is?
Did I find out where there was a portal, Brick?
Serenity knows where a portal is, because Serenity uses the trade route between Trade Gate and Excelsior, and once you get to Excelsior, the gate to Mount Celestia is common knowledge. It's most planes. Most planes, it matters which portal you use, but Mount Celestia, all portals go to the same place. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just say, Serenity knows the way.
All right then. Guess we better go find her then. Speaking of which, I need to talk to her. We may not be able to leave immediately because I have a thing.
Oh, you?
Yeah, I have a thing.
What kind of thing?
Some harebrained scheme of Happy's. I'm not quite sure exactly what he's up to, but...
Oh yeah, we're gonna go do that.
Yeah, but I mean... I'd like to bring in Serenity on it because... She's the strongest among our number, and she'll probably fare the best.
I don't know if she's as strong as a bear. I'm sure I can handle it. What do you need?
Well, Ciclon will talk about all the vague details he managed to squeeze out of the ball breaker.
Okay.
I don't have to wear a mask, do I?
No, you don't.
All right, well, let's go. Let's go find him. Let's do it.
Well, that's the thing is, he said he'd back to me on those details. He wasn't going. It wasn't. Yeah, it sounded like he hadn't ironed everything out.
The monks sitting in the shop seem overjoyed to hear this news that Mahogany is going to go participate in this fight. They seem elated.
What should my name be? The Bear. How do you say that? And what's that language your name is in?
I don't even know. It was a name I was given.
At this point, the door opens. A little bell tinkles, heralding the entrance of Hollis Dwarf, the half-dwarf, into the shop. He's dressed in plain clothes.
We've
he's not
seen
dressed
him before,
in.
right?
You
Yeah,
have, yes.
We've seen him before, yeah.
But he's dressed plain clothes. He's not wearing the harmonium armor.
I'll look askance at Mahogany.
He walks to the table and he places Serenity's hand axes on it.
I'll raise my eyebrow at that.
Says, your companion Serenity is in custody of the harmonium. The charges are obstructing justice. I'm here to attempt to clear that up as peaceably as I can. He looks at Mahogany and says, I'm told you can help with that.
Where do you have Serenity?
She's being held safely at the barracks for now. He looks over at the three monks. And you see him focusing on their medallions for a moment. But he turns back to you and doesn't say anything.
Mahogany doesn't say anything either. He hasn't asked him any questions yet.
So what did you ask him?
No, nothing. Mahogany just doesn't say anything.
He says, do you think perhaps you could clear the shop? I would not want to speak in front of your other customers.
And Mahogany will wave his hands and he goes, make yourself not seen.
And the three monks nod and exit the shop. You can both make a perception check.
Okay, yeah. What is my number for perception?
8?
17.
17.
Uh, 20.
20. Okay.
Yep.
When they exit the shop, they don't walk out into the street into the crowd. They make a very sharp turn, which you surmise means they're going to walk around into the alley behind the shop and try to enter through the back door, so as to hear the conversation.
And I'll give a count to 5.
Okay.
And then I'll shout off in the direction of the back of the shop. When he said, make yourselves not seen, he said, get the hell out of here.
And there's no response from the back of the shop.
Go to the back of the shop.
And you find them
I wasn't
hiding there
kidding about that.
amongst
Said I wasn't kidding about that. Get out of here.
What do you do to shoot them? They're not leaving of their own volition. They go through this rigmarole about the importance of staying in
I'll
contact.
roll my
with Mahogany.
eyes, close the door to the back of the shop. And then say,
He's very excitable. So what's going on?
Dwath speaks in because he's now been twigged to the idea that there might be other people listening. He says, Serenity and I have had some dealings concerning the slavery investigation.
Ciclon perks up at that.
And we know that she came into possession of an item that was held by Diller. Diller, of course, was the slaver's plant inside of my faction. He was supposed to pick up a box, but that box was never delivered, and the faction believes that Serenity or one of her companions has it. Serenity says she doesn't have it, and I believe her, but she says you might know where it is.
I'll look up Riot.
If you deliver this
Mahogany.
If you deliver this box peaceably and in a timely manner, this all gets smoothed over. We can release Serenity today.
I'll look at Riot.
And Mahogany will say,
I'll look to Mahogany.
"Don't worry, it's safe."
It's not safe until it's in Harmonium custody.
Oh, you might want to send some people over to Bahamut then.
I'll look at Mahogany like, what the fuck? You didn't mention anything about that earlier.
Mahogany will look back at it and say, "What?"
Why would we send people to the Temple of Bahamut?
Because they have the box.
So what's Elsie Clinton's reaction to that? Yeah, we know you've been waiting for like an hour.
He is flabbergasted. He is very visibly like just flabbergasted by this. Like, he isn't saying anything. He's just kind of pacing around and just being like, "What the fuck?"
Mahogany just looks confused.
The half-dwarf says that this indeed complicates a lot of things. What possessed you to turn the box over to one of the temples?
Oh, it wasn't my box. Why would I give it to you? Is it your box?
The half-dwarf, you can see that you're trying his patience. I want to try to make it very clear, for Serenity's sake, that if we do not have your full cooperation, and he looks at both of you when he says that, we'll have no choice but to go forward with the charges, which means there will be a trial, and after she is found guilty, it means turning her over to the Mercy Killers.
Found guilty of what?
Obstructing justice.
How did she obstruct justice?
By keeping the box away from the Harmonium. She should have turned it over as soon as it came into her possession.
Why? Was it your box?
Ciclon just kind of leans over the counter and just buries his head in his hands.
The nature of the Harmonium's investigation is not your concern. What concerns you is that the box is part of it. It should have been turned over immediately, but it wasn't. And now things are going to get very messy if we have to... And he stopped just shy of saying whatever it was he was about to say.
Well, you're both lawful types, right? I'm sure if you go over there and explain that you're the greater law, they'll hand the box over.
Sounds like you haven't had much contact with dealing with religious institutions of Sigil.
They were very rude about my own beliefs. Is that normal here? Like, should I have been doing that from the start?
He looks at Elsie Clone. Am I correct in assuming you're the more pragmatic of the two?
I'll just look at Mahogany and finally gain his composure. Stand up and fully address him now. Okay, what? Listen, can I level with you?
I wish you would.
I have a personal vested interest in seeing this slavery ring put to a stop for good. LC Clone will remove the bandages off his left arm and show the mark on his shoulder.
Okay.
Does this image mean anything to you?
He nods. He says he recognizes it.
All right. So you understand why I would be why I want to see this done by my own hand, right?
If I were in your position, sir, I believe that I would have turned the box over. Nothing brings these slavers to a more expedient end than cooperating with the Harmonium's investigation into their dealings.
Wait, I thought the Harmonium were with the slavers.
Oh my god.
I didn't hear that.
Mahogany,
what did you say?
Go into the back room and play with your friends.
I say, wait, I thought the Harmonium
Mahogany,
were the slavers.
Okay,
and play with your friends.
I need nobody notable to talk. Can you please repeat what you said? Because I didn't catch it.
I thought the Harmonium were with the slavers.
He says that there are elements within the Harmonium that were found to be take advantage of their position. Being Diller, who is still at large. They have not yet been able to locate him. We believe that coming into possession of this item that was meant to be delivered to Diller will help us find him and bring him to justice, which will in turn lead us to the slavers.
And Mahogany will say, well, why don't we just go out after them? If I help with that, I'm willing. Let's go. Why wait?
Because things are done in a certain way. And now he turns back to Ciclon again. And says, I'll be frank with you as well. If we're not able to retrieve the box, I don't see any way to release Serenity. My hands are tied on that count.
I'll take a deep breath and say, I'll see what I can do.
And Mahogany will hear what he just said, and he says, oh, don't worry, the problem will be taken care of.
In the spirit of cooperation, Serenity sent me to you to learn the location of the box.
And I told it to you.
And what do you intend to do to retrieve it?
I don't understand how me getting the box from Bahamut has anything to do with Serenity staying in jail. You say she's charged with obstruction of justice. She cooperated. You where the box is. So now you have to let her go.
He turns back to Ciclon. And says, your friend doesn't seem to have any... Your friend does not seem to want to see Serenity released. He wants to talk in circles. He wants to misunderstand the law. I'm going to step outside and take the air. The Mahogany walks out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so he stops mid-sentence and just watches you go. And you hear noise in the back as the three monks walk through the shop and exit their front door after Mahogany.
Ciclon just inhales deeply and says, why do I hang around with the person?
Are you going anywhere, Mahogany, or are you just standing outside the shop?
I'm finding Riot.
We'll go look for Riot. Okay, where are you looking for, Riot?
I'm going to start with rooting around in the lower ward at that she plays at.
With the ghosts.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I believe is in the clerk's ward.
The clerk's ward.
Oh, no, it was in the Guildhall ward. Sorry.
Guildhall.
Oh well, even better. I'm right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dwath stops in mid-sentence as Mahogany leaves the shop. And he says, despite what your friend wishes were true, the city has laws, and the laws must be adhered. And he waits for
a nod.
You agree with that? Okay. When there is evidence that a crime has been committed, and the Harmonium are sent to investigate that evidence, and it is withheld, that is an obstruction of the investigation. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And this is the charge that Serenity is held on. So do you have a way of retrieving the box, or do you not?
Well, I didn't give it to them in the first place, but I can talk I can talk to the at the Temple of Bahamut, see if I can get them to understand what is going on.
He holds up his hand and shakes his head. Says that won't accomplish anything. If it's truly in the hands of the temple, it will have to be seized by force.
Hey, Riot, you inadvertently sparked a war between the temple and the Hardheads.
I'm having a good day.
That's a good day for you.
The half-dwarf seems very dejected at the turn of events.
Ciclon is not happy about this either, because life just got a whole lot more complicated, and he is really thinking daggers at Riot right now. You just made the biggest mess possible, made everything terrible, and that's what's just okay. Never mind.
Does Ciclon offer any other assistance to the half-dwarf besides just telling him where the box is now?
Well, I'll see what I can do about talking to. Like I said, I'll see what I can do about talking to the priests there, but I don't know of any other way I could possibly be of assistance. I mean, I want to help clear this issue with Serenity, because she's a friend of mine.
He says he's going to go back to the barracks and begin making arrangements to bring force to the temple, and request that you come along so that at the very least you can identify the box once it's safely back in the Harmonium's possession.
All right.
So then he brings you off to the barracks. Kelian, how was breakfast?
Delish.
Yeah, didn't he go to the Eastgard restaurant?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. His old kip, yeah.
That's the Eastgard restaurant.
What part of this tangled mass of crumbled nonsense do I want to attack next here? What's
I want to make Mahogany's plan clear here.
What is Mahogany's
Which is that
plan?
he's going to wait at the bar and send out animal messengers every 10 minutes to various of Riot's known places to tell her he's in the bar and needs to talk to her.
Okay. Kelian, what's your afternoon action?
Probably go to Mahogany's shop. Looking for... Actually, no. What he would do is he would go to Serenity's hideout, not find Serenity, and then go to the Mahogany shop.
Okay.
And not find Mahogany.
Kelian's just a step behind today, it seems.
And as Ciclon, you're going to the barracks.
Yep.
Okay. Riot.
Mm-hmm.
As you're going about your business after leaving Dinkflink, a few hours pass, and you receive the animal messenger, a rat, scuttling up on the cobble, stands up on his hind legs and delivers the message, which is...
I need to speak to you at the bar where your band plays.
That is where Riot's afternoon action was going to be, because as far as she knows, she's going to be leaving for Mount Celestia soon, so feels like she ought to play at least one last show.
And you
before
get there
she up and disappears for who knows how long.
After the rat runs off in totally the wrong direction. You get back to the scattered steed, and Mahogany's waiting for you outside the shop.
And I say, Hardhead took Serenity. We have to get her out.
That's kind of hard.
I thought that was your thing. Isn't this what you people do?
Well, I'll see. I'll make some inquiries. I mean, it's no problem for me to get in there, but actually opening her cell door might take some doing. But yeah, we definitely owe it to Serenity to look into it for her. What is she being held in? Well, doesn't even matter. Who cares?
I said came to me and said that they wanted one thing. I gave it to them, and then they said, "Oh, we're not letting Serenity free anyway." You know the lawful types; they make their own laws.
Yeah, sounds like the hard hits. All right. Yeah, I'll go see what I can do.
So you're not going to stay and play a show?
No, not now that I've learned that Serenity's in trouble.
So Mahogany and Riot, what is the plan that you put together?
This is what I tell Mahogany.
Okay.
I can get in there. I can talk to Serenity. The hard part is going to be open the door where she's held, quietly.
And I say, do you think that you could get Kelian in with you? What if you acted like you were arresting him?
Well, see, then I'd have to actually put him in a cell and leave.
Do you think there's someone watching the cells?
A lot of people think that act works. Doesn't work as well as you'd think.
All right, then. What about the locks? There's something that we can do to get that open?
So I've got a spell.
Okay.
The problem is the spell. Everyone within 300 feet will hear it happen.
So you're worried that they'll come running as soon as they hear that?
It's likely to happen.
How loud is the noise? Feet. That's not that far.
It's
what
far
if we
enough
made
when
another
you're,
louder noise
when you're standing in the barracks.
Nearby.
Huh. A louder noise nearby. Let me think on that. So what I need, it sounds like you're saying, I need to make one loud noise to open up the cell. Then I would need to make another loud noise to make it sound like whatever was making these loud noises had moved on. Then I would need to get Serenity out. And then I would need some way for Serenity to pass for a Harmonium guard. This all sounds doable. Hard part's going to be getting the Harmonium armor. And I'm going to need to borrow your bag to carry it in.
And Mahogany will give it over. It's yours.
Mahogany, have you ever wanted to jump a member of the Harmonium?
I tried that once.
What we need is a single patrol officer, no backup, and we need to take them out very quickly and quietly.
That seems doable.
Yeah. Let's get Kelian on this. This seems like his type of expertise. I mean, it practically is his expertise, right? He's got experience in this field.
But do we want the Harmonium to end up dead? That seems more like Ian's field.
Right, just kind of holds her hands out and kind of like makes a 50-50 gesture. I could go either way.
So the plan, as I understand it, see if I'm filling in all the holes here, is you're going to jump a Harmonium guy, take his armor, stuff the armor in the bag, infiltrate the barracks with the bag filled with armor, go down into the dungeons where Serenity's being held, create a distraction noise to cover the sound of the knock, dress Serenity up like a guard, and then walk back out.
That's the plan.
Okay.
I missed Kelian's role in all of this.
Kelian's going to knock out the guard for us. Kelian's good at killing Harmonium members on patrol.
Okay.
He's got experience in that.
Got it.
So let's go find Kelian.
And you find him.
We explain the plan to him.
I'm waiting at the shop, so it is a logical place to find him.
That would have been one of the places that I was sending Riot messages to, so it would be in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's meet up with Kelian and we'll quickly go over the plan with him. Tell him that what we need from him is the armor part. And we know that you have experience murdering poor defenseless hardheads, so we need you to do it again.
All right. Do you mention to Kelian that this is all because the box is gone?
I don't even know that yet. All I know is that the hardheads took Serenity, and for some damn reason, we have to get her out.
Yeah, and I say that the hardheads took Serenity. That's my explanation.
All right, fine.
People aren't talking to each other. This is the worst. I am screaming over here.
You don't know. This is amazing because once it happens, it's gonna be great.
So let's start with Kelian. Actually, let's go back to Riot real quick. What kind of timeline do you want all this to take place on? That you're explaining this to Mahogany and Kelian. What do you tell them your timeline is?
It's afternoon now, right?
Yes.
Seems to me that we've got to move quick. We've got to get Serenity out there, and we've got to be ready once Serenity's out to all head for Mount Celestia. It'd do us some good to lay low for Ciclon for a while.
Okay.
So we ought to make whatever preparations we need to Celestia, which, from what Mahogany tells me, isn't much. And then, if you can get us the armor by late tonight, maybe like midnight or so, that's when we'll do it.
Now, common knowledge in the group. Serenity knows a portal to Bitopia. And from there she travels to the Outlands via the gate town of Trade Gate. And from there it's a 3-day journey overland to the gate town of Excelsior. Am I correct in assuming that's the path you're all going to use to get to Mount Celestia?
Unless Mahogany has asked the High Priest of a faster way.
Yeah, did the High Priest mention a faster way from Sigil?
Make a roll.
Alright.
Just straight intelligence check.
$15.
There is a portal to Mount Celestia in the Temple of Bahamut, and the key, which is not consumed, is a holy symbol cast from platinum.
Does it have to be a holy symbol, Bahamut?
Yes.
Did he tell me where I could find one of those?
I mean, he had one, and you would assume other priests of Bahamut would have one.
Did he indicate that one of the priests of Bahamut would be willing to open this portal for us? I guess what I'm asking.
Absolutely not. Not unless you yourself are an adherent of Bahamut.
Then why did he tell me about the portal at all?
Because you asked.
That's the question. Oh, okay.
You asked during conversation.
All right.
So,
I bet I could find one at the marketplace. You can find anything at the marketplace.
Okay.
Right. So you go do that. Kelian, you've got your job. I'll go think about how I'm going to approach this barracks plan.
So let's start with Kelian then.
all right.
Actually, I think I already forgot. Riot, what kind of timeline did you want this to all be done by? Did you want this all to be done by tonight? Get it all done and leave Sigil? Is that the idea?
I think so, because we don't know why. Like, we don't know anything about what's happening. We don't know, like, how long their patience with Serenity is going to last for whatever she did.
Okay.
And she's worried that they're going to turn Serenity over to the Mercy Killers if we don't get her out soon.
So you want Kelian to take out this Harmonium Guard tonight?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kelian, how do you go about doing that?
Hey. Just because it would have come up in the planning stage, I'm also going to say that Mahogany would say that he can take care of the noise, too.
Okay.
What's your plan for that?
I'll conjure a bunch of animals to make a ruckus.
I say, okay, well,
So one of them will be louder than 300 feet.
It has to be very, very loud.
Worst comes to worst, I'll transform into a lion and I'll do it myself.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So starting with Kelian, what's your plan to
Kelian is if we want this done by tonight, Kelian's wasting no time going over there and just studying and memorizing and getting down the movement patterns of the guards, where they're stationed, if there's any rotation going on, like they change every hour, the guards or something. He wants to know everything that he can on the outside of the prison.
One of the issues with the Harmonium is they don't do regular patrols, not the kind that you could memorize.
Okay.
But you are familiar with many of the Harmonium faces that you see in and around the Hall of Records. And you know there are a lot of blind alleys there that you might be able to lure one away. Your best bet, go ahead and make me an intelligence roll. Do you have the criminal background?
Yes.
If you have criminal background, make that at advantage.
Well, I got.
I'll be right back, guys.
Sorry, what did you want me to roll? It was
just a straight intelligence check. You can make it at advantage if you have the criminal
17.
background. So you don't have criminal background?
We'll say no for now.
What's your background?
Because the degree of success is going to be important here.
Oh, okay.
The better you roll. I mean, the 17's perfectly good roll.
I don't know. I didn't write it down on my character sheet.
Ah, okay. Well, you got the 17. They don't plan like regular patrols. That would be impossible in the city the size of Sigil, the size and the scope, and every patrol, they're going to get waylaid and distracted. The shapes of the streets and buildings are constantly changing because the Dabus are tearing down old buildings and putting up new ones. But you know the faces and first names of a lot of the Harmonium patrols that are in and around the Hall of Records, near to your favorite restaurant. You are pretty sure that you can wait for one to be off duty and isolate him. So my next question is, what is the plan? Are you going to try to isolate him and knock him out, or are you just going to kill him?
I don't believe Riot and Mahogany said not to kill him, so...
Okay. Make a stealth roll.
And if he's working at the Hall of Records, fuck him. 14.
All right, I'm back.
14? You managed to tail him from the bar he was drinking at. And he looks a little tipsy. And he's walking away from the bar towards the Guildhall ward. Between where he is now and where he's going, there are lots of little blind alleys to use. Knowing what you know of the Hardheads, even though he's off duty, he is still obligated to investigate strange noises and strange happenings.
Yeah, I will... Yeah, once I will duck into an alley, and once I see him come by, I will start making high-pitched help noises, as if though I were a female.
And where are you hiding in this alley?
I'm hiding, like, behind some boxes.
Okay, so just
or
like
some like a trash or a dumpster or something.
Behind a pile of crates in the alley. Okay.
Yeah.
And can we hear your best high-pitched help squeal?
Sure. Help! Help!
That's
beautiful. Compelling.
The street he is walking along is well lit, but not well populated this time of night. It's going to see some foot traffic overnight, but not as much as one of the major thoroughfares of the Clerk's Ward. And after a second or two, you see him poke his head into this alley and look around. And he calls out, "Who goes there?"
Yeah, crossbow bolt into the face then.
While he's standing in the road?
Because I'm assuming he's not expecting it.
Alright, roll initiative.
Alright.
His is a... Oh, his is a 6.
This is a 24 or 22.
And he's surprised, so you get the first attack. So you get sneak attack and assassinate and all the good stuff.
Yeah,
this is
I do.
This is the big roll here. This is all the bones. He's surprised, and you beat him on initiative, and you have advantage for being hidden.
If he's surprised, I score a critical hit automatically.
Just don't even need to roll. Then just roll the damage. Then.
All right, so
Oh,
I'll roll...
And double it.
Yeah, remember twice as many damage dice. You only had the modifier once, though.
Yeah. 7 plus 11 plus 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. Uh, 11, 12, 13, 16, 20, 25, 28 damage.
28?
Yeah.
Get him in the face with this crossbow bolt, and he screams out in pain as the crossbow penetrates into his cheek. He starts bleeding from his mouth and the hole in his face. And you see him reaching
29
down.
because I'm using one of my crossbow bolt case. That's right, because I put them in my case for the day.
+1.
No.
Let me get the calculator out here. And he screams bloody murder in pain, and his whole face is starting to bleed profusely. And he whips his sword out of the sheath. He's half blinded with the blood in his face, and he tears ass into the alley. He says, "Whoever fired that?" And what was your stealth roll?
Actually, no, he can't because he was surprised.
Oh, that's right. He can't act because he's surprised, and he's still surprised. So that was 6. Now it comes back around to 24.
I'll shoot him again.
He's just screaming bloody. Yeah, shoot him again. Whatever you got to do. You no
Just
longer
keep shooting him. Just keep shooting him.
no longer get the assassinate though. That was only on the first turn.